Shout out to LFOD Radio.
We in the building.
LFOD Radio.
LFOD Radio. Live Free or Die Radio on 91.5.
LFOD Radio. Oh.
You are now tuned in to LFOD Radio. Live Free or Die. I am your host, Uncle Sam. This is episode 154, and we're about to be joined by Pomegranate. They braved the snow and sleet and rain and all that beautiful New England weather to get down here tonight. Very excited to talk to these guys. Biggest show yet in terms of numbers. And we're going to waste no time getting into that tonight. Normally, this is the part where Amanda and A-Ball say hello, but they're unavailable tonight. A-Ball's actually in New York City. He just did a dance competition out there. He went out of town. I haven't gotten the full briefing, but he'll be sharing that next week, and Amanda will be letting us know what she was into as well. Then they usually say, hey, Sam, how was your weekend? And so we'll just pretend that happened. I went out to G.O.D's record listening party this weekend. Shout out G.O., Dion, and them. That was out there at Q Division Studios. Very excited for that album. If you missed that interview, I would check that out. It's a couple back. That's how we kicked off the season. And definitely stay tuned for that record. He's got some joints on there, you know, and probably maybe more than you're expecting. That I Don't Care record is out now as well. Shout out to everyone that was out there. Ran into some good people. And then other than that, we're just, getting ready for more LFOD. If you are tuned in on the broadcast, you can hear that episode that I just talked about and all our other ones on Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google Play, Stitcher, LFODradio.com, and pretty much any other podcast app. There's like 150 more. If you subscribe, you'll get the new ones right away. Otherwise, you can follow us at LFOD Radio or LFOD Life on Facebook, and then you'll get new ones there. Before we get into this, we got to give a shout out to our patrons one more time, and we got to shout out the record company for sharing their space. We're going to get into some new music. I got a couple for you. This guy just messaged us asking us if we needed beats. I said, hey, you never know, send us something. And he sent us something. So shout out, that's Robbie Nelson. This is called Frenemy. You're tuned in to LFOD Radio.
Hey, cigarette ashes. I'm about to snap like elastic. Too many drugs. I had it with all of that wax. Couple of doves. Can't take an L, I'm a master. Look at them fussing. I flip it and cause a disaster. Maybe it's clout, maybe it's racks, maybe it's you after. Look at the following algorithm on news feed for the fashion. Look at the boom bap rapper talking about my shit ain't nice. Talking like you got a lot of respect, but really ego what it sound like. You can't even come around like that. Only hate it cause you can't do it. I've been at it for like 10 years. Y'all really think I never been through it? Y'all think I haven't been there, done that with the cast all on my back. And I'm speaking for my brother too. Y'all clown rappers ain't no one to have. Couple years I won a digital dash. We got the rhythm, it's all on the Mac. Palming the granted, I'm slamming the record. I flooded through 808s in the claps. Y'all trying to talk and I laugh. Triple the sevens like lottery cash. Bobbing and weaving the forbidden fruit. I'm seated and get to the bottom of that, yeah. Hey, just let me level up. I burn a rapper, he turned to dust. Look at you jocking my shit right in front of us, acting like y'all never heard of us. Y'all said I flip and I turn to drugs. I told my mama don't worry, no they bullshit, and you know I control the kinetic. These bird bitches trying to chirp me, hey, throw up a peace sign. Internet rapper talk like you got reach, huh? Laced up on your feet, huh? Kick off my boots, I ain't squashing no beef, huh? Burning slower like shisha. Scandalous rapper, you acting like diva.
And we're back, LFOD Radio. We set that off with Frenemy from Robbie Nelson, Luminous Tomb from I-9, and Oddly off the Juan Cosby record. And that last record was Count from Pomegranate. They join us now. What's happening, y'all?
What up?
What's going on? How's it going? What's going on?
We're cracking.
Packed in here.
Packed it in.
So before we even get into this, I think it would be cool if everyone, let's go left to right, introduce yourselves so people know whose voice they're hearing when you're talking, and just say what you do in the group.
I'm Charlie Mixwell. I'm basically producer, engineer.
Word.
Telekinetic, rapper, producer.
I'm
mainly rapper.
I'm Everett Gibbons. I'm just an artist, musical artist. I don't know. I like to make a couple beats.
I'm Joey Roxit, and I do a little bit of rapping, a little bit of singing, a little bit of both.
What's up? I'm Brill. I'm an engineer, producer, and I sing. I sing sometimes too. Yeah. That's
Boy.
Oh, he sang. Oh, he sang.
He edited those tracks for us. Thank you, man.
That boy
yeah,
can sing.
no problem, no
Super
problem.
clean.
These guys have filthy mouths. So I didn't actually know that many of you produced.
Count?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Count was.
Who did count?
Yeah, I actually
it
made
was Della,
Count. Yeah, I made that beat.
That's what's up.
I think every song that we sent you is produced by
Besides me,
someone else.
because I don't do that.
Yeah.
I need to start, but
Do you guys lock in and like create the beats together, or does one of you come with the beat and say, "Hey, let's get to this"?
It varies. I make a bunch of beats by myself, and sometimes I'll just like pull up a bunch, and it would be like, yeah, I got something written to that, and then go in. Sometimes me and Bri will sit down and make a beat, and we'll all be in there. Yeah, it just varies all the time, whatever we're feeling at the moment.
Yeah, 90% of the beats are these two guys.
Like if I bring a beat in, it's like out of the blue, and then I'm like, yo, I think I got one. I think I made a good one, guys.
Yeah.
Like, yo, this one might be good.
We never try to like necessarily just shut down an idea. It's like you don't do that, so you don't get to do that. It sounds dope. It sounds dope. So a lot of times, like you guys said, you'll bring in a beat that's like just a loop, something like that, and like we just load it up and we take a look at it together and arrange it into something that sounds more like a story, and then we go from there. So it's a team effort. It's a team effort for sure.
Yeah.
It's good to have everyone knowing their way around a studio too, because then you can add those little sprinkles. You know?
Yeah,
Definitely, yeah.
absolutely.
That's definitely like one of the things that like helps as a group, you know what I mean? Like I'll write a verse, have a beat and write a verse, and then like, you know, Ev will come in with a hook or Joe will come in with a hook. And then even once everything's recorded, we think the song's done, like Bri will throw something on there, and that just makes it a whole, you know, adds a whole nother vibe to the song, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
No, for sure.
Run a vibe.
yeah, run a vibe.
They can't hear you saying
Go ahead
that.
and run a little
vibe.
We're like at our mic capacity here, and we have more mics than we normally have. So, before we even, so that was off volume 2, and you dropped 2 EPs this year.
Yes.
So congrats,
Yes.
working
Thank you.
hard.
Thank you, man.
Ryan.
And I know you're working on another. You're dropping previews every Monday.
So no, those are called like Palm Mondays, and actually, Brian.
Yeah, Palm Mondays are.
I just realized that's like, is that a religious thing? Like a Palm Sunday?
Oh,
like
I didn't
is that
think about it.
No, not at all.
Sounds like it, but no.
Good. Yeah, we'll go with that from now on.
There you go. Just like,
No, Palm
let's get that
Mondays
crowd
is just
listening.
like, it's just something that I think we try and keep something consistent. So it's like you always hear from us at least once a week. So the Palm Mondays is a way for us to try and give people a little bit of insight into like what it looks like when we do what we do. So right now it's a lot of like a lot of the songs that you've heard on Palm Mondays are all songs that have been released, but
Right.
they're more so like a visual of like the name to the face. Because there's so many of us that for people who don't necessarily know who we are, they can't distinguish between each person. So when you can hear a voice and put it to a face, it makes it a little bit easier to follow as we continue to release
Right.
new music. Me and Mixie have things in the work along with the rest of us that are like behind the scenes for like how we're making beats and things like that. So it's just to kind of give more of an insight into how the things that we make come to fruition.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why
Building.
Monday?
Mondays suck. You gotta get something to make you happy.
Yeah, basically.
make
You gotta
it
give,
better.
gotta give people
Mondays
something for the
suck.
week.
You gotta
That's
brighten
honestly
you up.
why.
You gotta brighten up the day.
I
Right?
do, yeah. So I did a thing too. Like every Tuesday that it rains and or precipitates, I put out like a free verse thing. So it was like Palm Mondays too. Like we're just trying to just keep ourselves semi-responsible for putting out consistent content. Yeah. Trying to hold ourselves accountable more so than anything. You know what I mean? Doesn't need to. It's what I mean. Palm Monday doesn't need to be the the thing that, but it is something like kind of we just hold ourselves accountable to do. You know what I mean?
You'll see the momentum from it.
Yeah, exactly. It is. It's
a lot of the times we almost forget. Like we'll like it'll be like last minute on Monday. And we're like, oh yeah, it's Palm Monday. We gotta throw something.
You guys need to remember it's Palm Monday.
Yeah.
That's what's up. So speaking of Palm, I know what it means, but I was talking to someone recently, and they're like, "Yeah, I saw those guys at a show, and it's pretty cool." But then they explained their name, and I was like really into it. So can one of you explain what pomegranate means for us?
All right.
Right into the
Brill.
mic.
All right, so pomegranate. And I always say it like this, we spell it wrong on purpose. We're not illiterate. Pomegranate, Pomagranite. POMA is part of Massachusetts. It's where I'm from. Joey, I think you were born there. Everett, you were
Originally
born
Medford, Mass.
He's got a New Hampshire tattoo.
Yeah, now I'm living there. That's my,
So,
Yo,
so
welcome.
That's the granite.
I love it.
It's the second
grand.
half of it. I guess that's the reason is that we all
Little
pretty
mixture, man.
all of us kind of
mix
just hop
well.
over, from New Hampshire to Massachusetts, not really thinking about it, and it is kind of like in a weird spot in between Boston and pretty much Canada.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So who's from New Hampshire here originally?
We all live in New Hampshire right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? A lot of us were born in Massachusetts. You know what I
Okay.
mean? My parents moved me up to New Hampshire, but all my family lives, in like Cambridge, the Boston area.
Okay.
So, and I think that's pretty much a similar, situation with all of us is that it is, we were all,
Shout out,
Ella and
Lister.
I are the only ones that are always from New Hampshire.
Yeah.
Born and raised, bro. Granite State.
born and raised.
That's what's happening. So why did you decide that was important to highlight with the name?
Well, I mean, it might be different for maybe a little different for everybody, but when you think of like what we do, we're not necessarily like a band. The way we describe ourselves to other people is like a collective of independent artists. So when you think about a fruit like an apple or a banana, strawberry, you bite into it and that's what you get.
Yeah.
A pomegranate is a pomegranate, and until you actually open it, you don't realize that it's each individual seed that makes that one fruit. So without having each individual piece of us, there is nothing. So pomegranate as a whole, like I said, isn't necessarily a band as much as it could be a movement of just trying to take the best parts of you, focusing on that, sharing them with other people, and watching just this beautiful thing blossom without any effort. Like a book I'm reading right now
just give it
is
to him.
Beauty.
it's like the
Here
seven,
you are.
the
Here's a
seven,
pomegranate.
like steps to success. Shout out Aiden Crowley. But there's something. Aiden Crowley's our manager. I love that kid. Yeah, Aiden Crowley.
Shout out
West
Adrian.
West. Yeah, no, he sent me a book
And West.
about like the 7 spiritual like laws
Laws
of
of
success and.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not gonna. We don't have time to
it.
get into that. But, yeah.
Well, I got to apologize to your manager and to you, Ev, because I've been hitting you up. I should just be.
It's all good.
I thought you were like
No,
the
it was
head
like-
here.
no,
I
it's
wasn't
like-
sure.
Yeah, I mean, like the whole pomegranate thing really is. It's like it's the whole concept. Just is that everything, everybody makes up a piece of the same fruit. You know what I mean? And that is that's very symbolic, very open for interpretation. Like, you know what I mean? It can mean different things for everybody. You know what I mean? Like it's relevant in a lot of, mythology. Religion, it represents fertility, it represents good fortune. There's it relates to a lot of major, I don't know how to say it.
Forbidden.
Yeah, like
It's the original forbidden fruit.
yeah, that's true. Yeah. So like
Nah,
Go check out Pomegranate.
definitely
New
it
album's
honestly
actually
hit me
fun,
one
too.
day
Actually
like
track
dude,
on the
the way pomegranate ever hit me was I was writing one day and I wrote pomegranate. It was on this song. It was like pomegranate and grapes, and then I like looked at it, I was like, oh, pomegranate, it's just a cool word. Like I was just kind of thinking about it, and then I was like, oh, pomegranate, oh, Granite State, like. Oh, that might be something there, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then I just kind of like it was the album that me and Brian were working on before like we ever really like officially came together as a group, and we ended up naming that album Pomegranate Music, and then Joey ended up building the studio, and like we all just kind of like incorporated each other. And, you know, Mixwell was doing shows at Carlo Rose. He was DJing shows at Carlo Rose. Me and Dell have always made music together. So it was like kind of just happened in this weird way where all of a sudden it was like, boom, we got to like,
we just like morph together as a unit without even kind of knowing it.
Yeah, I was wondering how you guys
came
all, like if you purposely did the Voltron thing or if it just naturally.
I met him from
I met him at Carlo Rose.
Smoke shop. Carlo Rose, dude. Everybody meets each other through there.
Yeah.
That's like, it's like the hot spot.
Yeah.
I knew Everett like back in the day though. We used to play basketball like against each other. We were from different towns. We would
Rivals,
play,
dude.
Pick up and like every time I would see him, I would be like, I do not like this kid. And I'm pretty sure
likewise,
same for
dude.
him,
Likewise.
Yeah. And then like my buddy showed me his music
rivalry.
once before I went to DJ at his place, and I was like listening. I was like, oh, this is pretty good. And then I saw the video, and I was just like, this kid?
Did you hate it immediately?
No, I didn't. I was like, I can't hate. It's good.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's all. Shout out to you for powering through that.
Yeah. And then I walk into Carlo Rose. I walk into Carlo Rose to like for the beginning of a night. We have a show, and this kid's behind the DJ booth, and I'm like, "You gotta be kidding me!" This kid, like the kid that we always play basketball against, that I hate. All right, whatever. And then he's like, "Yo, I make beats," and I was like, "Cool." I checked him out. I was like, "Oh, they're actually pretty good."
Damn, I can't hate that.
I'm like, dang, he's actually pretty good. Like, I wish he wasn't good, so it would be like, psh, whatever. You know what I mean? But then we ended up linking up, and that's kind of like
it's
how
all right.
everybody, yeah, they're all right. But they, you know, we all ended up coming together and
trickle
just,
down effect.
we all kind of became closer friends, I think.
We started making music. and
Yeah,
releasing it.
exactly.
We were like, we might be onto something. Because I remember the first time I got into Pomegranate and I played
Just
beats,
efficient.
and I
It was
like,
efficient.
Scared. Yeah. I was scared out of my mind. I was so scared.
Stopped it.
Then I played some, and then you played some, and it was like, wow, this is great. And it was just crazy to be surrounded by so much talent. It just took off.
I'm glad you explained that a bit because I thought Pomegranate was a group, but then when I go on the pages, it says record label, and then I know there's a studio, so I wasn't 100% sure. Are you a group, and you're also like, are you looking to put out other people's music too down the line?
Down the line, definitely.
For sure.
And that we're kind of just we're kind of looking at it more so like a roster that we can trust. as weird as that is, you know what I mean? Like we're looking at it like we're all boys, we all trust each other, you know what I mean? And it's not to say that we wouldn't grow, and it's not to say that we wouldn't ever publish for other people or whatever, you know what I mean? Or it's all up in the air, but we kind of just, that's kind of just the flag.
But you
that
might
we
put
fly
out
under.
solo albums for yourself.
Yeah, absolutely.
That would be through
absolutely.
Pomegranate.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's kind of thing is nobody's stuck in the group like, oh, you can't go do your own thing. Go do your own thing. But when you come to the studio and it's 5 people, you're more likely going to work on something that's everybody's on than 4 of you just looking at the one kid working on and being like, what are you doing? Like, we all want, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's more organic and more, I feel like, effective and efficient when we all get in the studio because we're all, we all understand that we can all put something out together and make it dope. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
well, before we head into this break, I'm curious. So you all have come together. You're all making music together.
yeah.
You have a vision. What is your goal making music overall? Like when you guys are making it, what are you doing it for?
I mean,
It might be different for each of you. I don't know,
I
but
think it's overall the same. Like we want to have fun and obviously be able to do that, like for a living, and
Live life off music.
live life off music.
Just for the vibe,
whether you make a whole bunch of money, but just enough to live, and do that and not have to worry about, the things that come up in life.
Energy from
Yeah.
crowds is awesome too. When you perform and you get and you receive energy from a crowd, like, and they love the song. You know what I mean? Like having people rapping your lyrics in the front row, that's awesome. You know what I mean? So
Best feeling
that's like
ever.
one of the,
I feel like
obviously
the last
my
show
main
we had
reason,
was
my main reasons. But no, go ahead.
I feel like the last show we had was like one of the, maybe not the first times, but like our biggest like crowd reaction and stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
That definitely was cool.
Yeah,
but yeah, when you see people in the crowd that you don't know singing your stuff, it's pretty cool. But like, I don't know, I guess for me, like individually, the like goal for it is like, I look at that as like what we write and what we produce is art, and I just would like that to get as far and as well spread as possible. I think that's probably my ultimate goal. I don't really have any, definition of number or, goal or achievement set that I'm going to be like, oh, like,
Yeah.
Maybe.
success finally.
Yeah.
Like, it's just more so like I think it's something that I've always done, we've always done, and that, the further it gets heard and the further it gets brought through word of mouth and stuff, I think that's going to make it more fulfilling.
Word.
For sure.
Word. So, where can people connect with you that want to connect at?
Pomegranate Records.
Pomegranate Records.
On everything?
On everything.
everything,
Guys,
Yeah.
thank you.
Spell it right.
Simple, right?
POMAGRANITE.
781.
Don't do that.
The
Pomegranate
spelling of pomegranate was hard enough.
At
that it was-
pomegranate.
yeah.
Yeah. And if you look us up
POMAGRANITE.
on like Google or anything and you type in just regular or you try to spell our name right, it might even bring you to the correct spelling. Like
Yeah,
the
it'll do
scientific way of
autocorrect on-
pomegranate.
yeah.
So
On
make
YouTube.
sure that you
On
make
YouTube.
make sure that Google spells it wrong
Okay,
for you.
okay.
No,
So it's
was it you, Dylan, said, I
scientific.
want to see my name in the search bar?
Yeah.
Was that because of that? You wanted to
was
stop
that?
getting
actually can
autocorrected?
What song was that?
Trying to
Oh,
see
on
my
Trip.
name in the
Yeah.
search
Yeah.
bar.
Name on the
Yeah,
search
just
bar.
trying to see my name on the search bar, top of the list with the stuff I
All right, we're gonna play this rest record, and we'll be back after this.
Sweet.
You're tuned in to LFOD Radio.
Eat.
Palm popping when we hopping out the bagel. That's a long way coming from a 99 Laredo on the front side. Till my brother say so. Got some sunshine outside. Grab yourself a halo. That's my first try. Homie, you know I make those if you thirst drive. Everything you do, it could be fatal. Burn a stir fry. Oh, we serve a Fredo. That's a long drive to a quick trip. We on the radio if we on fire. Oh, just let them burn on some real fake. Ain't concerned with no sales pitch, cause y'all don't listen, lesson learned. I've been digging on myself, but self-sufficient ain't the word, this is business. I bring the paper home and get the dog a biscuit. A pomegranate, we got nothing but a hit list. We own it, and they ain't closing up the distance. They ain't close enough, so focus on some inches. Sever Gibbons, shout out LFOD.
We're back, LFOD Radio. That was Rest from Pomegranate. That's off Volume 2, out now. So the video for that is this recap video from your trip to LA.
Oh, that was on the treatment one.
that
So it
was
was Florida.
Florida, yeah.
Florida trip.
Backwards.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's cool.
So that was your trip to Florida.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess I'll ask you about Florida then. I was going to ask you about LA, but
We can do both.
you did do a trip to LA.
Yeah,
that was
yeah,
more recent,
absolutely.
Okay.
More recent, yeah.
Which would you prefer to talk about?
LA's
LA was
probably
longer.
More
Right?
stuff to talk about.
Okay, so why did you go to LA? We'll start with that.
We had a couple shows out there. We had one. I honestly I forget.
I wanted to cross
Virgil,
it off my
yeah,
bucket
the Virgil.
list.
Yeah,
Big
yeah. We had
time.
one
I
at the
never did.
we had a show at the Virgil, and then one at
Los Globos.
Los Globos in Los Angeles, and yeah. So we went out there, and we had already done that trip to Florida. What for the rest for the first treatment, and we were only there for like 5 or 6 days, and we made some really, what we felt like was quality music. So when we got those shows booked out in LA, because our manager Aiden lives out there, so he was kind of putting something together for us out there. We're like, we might as well bring the equipment and do kind of the same thing. But now we got 8 days out there, so we could probably put out, have
And a dope
more
house.
songs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what we ended up doing.
So did you record most of Volume 2 out in LA?
Yeah.
Yep.
Most of
Yep.
it, all like the beats and stuff were kind of made out there too. I'm pretty sure
Pretty much went out
everything
there.
we made out there, like we just tried to start from scratch for the project and like get the inspiration of like where we are to.
We just gathered the
Bring that
vibes
in,
out there.
yeah,
That's all we
exactly.
did. We gathered the vibes. Some of the stuff we
Gathered,
touched up
yeah.
at home.
Even
but-
like some of the
Gathered some
like
clout,
sounds,
gathered
like
some
even some of the
vibes.
like specific sound choices that we used and like types of melodies, like at least for the beats that I made, I was like super like, what would Dr. Dre do on this? But
I'm going to
Why
go back and
why didn't you
listen
do
to
it?
it.
Yeah,
without
it,
mine.
it does have like a super
Why didn't you
Cali
do it that
vibe. Like
way?
a couple of the songs, like Valley's super
yeah,
Cali.
Yeah.
For sure.
Do you guys... So how much of your music do you actually create in the Pomegranate region? Or are you into like
lot.
this travel?
We have a lot.
We have a lot stacked
yeah.
for
I
next
feel
year.
like
We
out
have
of
music stacked.
the music we've put out, yeah, that's so weird. I just thought about that. But we have like just so much stacked away. Everything we've made here, we make a lot of music here. Yeah.
Okay. So what was the biggest thing you learned on that trip? You were there for shows and making music. I don't know what else you got into, but
LA is pretty. I don't know how. Like I don't know. It's just. I would say like.
A lot more.
People show up.
populated.
People show up. But I mean, I feel like it's definitely a lot of people trying to make it. Doing. You know what I mean? It's almost like the gold. You feel like you're in a gold rush for SoundCloud rap or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like and you're like, all right, like this is chill, and you know what I mean. If like you got something popping out there, good for you. But definitely at you know, at points in time. But I mean, the show at Los Globos was dope. We had like Kai come through. We had On Cue. We had J-Zack actually came and was like just chilling with us. So
Dylan Reese.
yeah, I mean there was
Another Dylan.
it was a good amount of good. It was a good show because it was mostly people from out here.
Word.
Doing a show out there, and it was dope to actually see anybody show up because you know what I mean. There was really no LA artists out there. There was no nothing, and for the turnout that we got for you know kind of keeping it like New England, it was actually pretty sweet, and
Nice.
it definitely it was definitely an experience for sure.
you said it was shiesty.
I don't know what you're.
Oh, no, it was
Man, they shiesty.
It was crazy. It was a crazy time. Like it was just everything. Our clocks are set back 3
Yeah.
hours, so you're just like
different time
You just
zone.
found that
Out
out
of it
when
the
we
whole
went
time.
there.
Yeah, Joey was panhandling. Joey just got out of the car and started panhandling in Los Angeles. That's why he says that.
Yeah,
He
well,
was just-
we talked to Gio. He was like, "I can't live there." Like
That's
I
pretty
tried.
crazy.
He's up in part time in San Francisco now. He's like, I had to put a little distance. You
Yeah,
know?
we were kind of outside. We were up in like Calabasas. Yeah.
A lot of
So we were,
artists
like,
say
pretty
that
far out
too.
of
When they
LA.
move to LA, it's like, you know, you get there and then you're there, and when a lot of artists say like when they're making music in a big city like that for a while, even New York City, like you gotta kind of retreat. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
you lose like. Everyone's trying to do the same thing around
Potency.
you. You know what I mean? So
lose
yeah,
potency
you lose your
around-
potency. Yeah, exactly. Like
lose
it's like,
potency around other. You know what I mean?
It seems good to dip in and out.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's a nice heat check.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. But like at
yeah.
the same time, it's like, you know, if I am ever gonna get out there at that spot, you know, I'm gonna go out there prepared. I'm not going out there with 500 of my CDs,
Right.
and
Yeah.
hoping I blow up.
Gotta
It's
go
like,
out there with some momentum.
yeah, some momentum and a plan more so than anything. You know what I mean? Something that's
So y'all felt that you passed the heat check, or did you come back saying, "All right, we got to tighten a few things up. We got to do some of this, some of that."
A little of both.
Oh yeah.
yeah.
I mean,
definitely felt good
that's
on
the thing is we're
something,
just constantly
definitely.
growing too. Like
Yeah.
that. I mean, I feel like a heat check for us back then. We probably felt like we passed the heat check.
Good.
You know, coming back, we were like, all right, yeah, we were confident. But even as short as 3-4 months down the road, we look back and we're like,
Yeah, this stuff.
I would eat that
Yeah.
kid alive. I would eat the fort. You know what I mean? Like,
If you're not looking like that, though,
yeah, you got to get better every day.
Yeah.
And that's what that's. I think that's what we try to do.
And I think something that is different for us that maybe separates us from other people is everything that we do is in house.
okay.
So like all the beat, like we don't outsource for beats. It's all us.
Everything.
We don't.
Yeah, we have our
go
own
to- We
studio.
don't book studio time. We book like me and Della and Mixie. Like me and Della went to school for like engineering and music production. That's how we met.
We stayed a street
Della-
over. We stayed on Beacon
Yeah, we
Street.
used to live right around
Yeah.
the corner. Della ended up like through school kind of leaning more towards like the performance and the artistry of creating
Yeah.
music, whereas I nerded out and I got really into like the technology behind it. And then when I met Mixie, it was like I finally met another person and I was like, oh, cool, like you're into this too and you get it too. So as far as like all the records that you hear is like in Mixie, like
Yeah.
recording and then sitting down and mixing and going through things. So, like literally have books in my backpack that I just read. So every day for me is like, how can I try and be better than yesterday? So it's not even just about being like able to out rap or out sing. Like it's the whole package. It's like, how can we try and take this to the next level? And the music that we've
Yeah.
been doing sonically,
Content.
even
Yeah.
content.
yeah,
Even now, like,
we're
the
doing it on
latest
Mondays,
things.
like,
Watch out.
the sonics of like the
We
stuff
coming.
that we've been recording and putting
We on the
not putting
way.
out, but that we've been working on now is I can feel not even just here, but like I can feel a noticeable difference in the way that it's like, oh, this is gonna hit a little bit different than I think some of our other stuff has as far as like the
Yeah.
the genuineness and sound.
I definitely noticed the work ethic. I mean, to drop a couple albums like that in a year, and then how it seems like you guys are constantly building and working. So knowing, we got to talk about Carlo Rose for a minute, because like you put in a lot of work there, man, holding things together and making sure that there was a space for, New England artists, New Hampshire artists to build around. So just seeing that you had the work from that, and then you guys are working. So I think that's why we,
that was home field. That Carlo Rose was like where a lot of people got either their first show or a lot of their practice in live performance, especially for hip hop. But I mean, we were doing like metal, we were doing, country, we were doing comedy shows, whatever. Like we didn't really care, but the hip hop crowd that definitely came through there. I mean, we saw some pretty solid acts, you know what I mean? Ranging too, like crazy, like hype, like, SoundCloud rappers, like the, whatever, mumble rap, whatever you want to categorize them as. I'm not, you know what I mean? To, super lyrical,
Right.
But yeah, I mean, not even to categorize it like that, but just like, I'm not going to name drop people that came through there, but I mean, there was a range. There was some legendary, super legendary artists came through there, and I mean, like they came from far away too. So I mean, when that started becoming people's place on a tour or whatever, like a small little hip hop tour, I was like, okay, we're getting some traction, and honestly, it just gave us a lot of networking, and honestly, I met so many people through there, that you didn't really expect it when I started it that hip hop in Massachusetts and New Hampshire in that little area would flock to this little place on the state border
in the corner.
Like it was like, dude, this place was on the middle of a long road, like you know what I mean? It's Route 38, and it's not a downtown setting. So to see some of the crowds that came through that place was like legendary, honestly, you know what I mean? Because there was just such a range of characters that followed these different artists that were there by whatever chance of them getting booked there, you know what I mean? Some people hit me up, I hit some people up, you know what I mean? It was...
And you definitely, like you said, like, you could sharpen up.
Yeah, exactly. I know, that's how we treated it.
Just seeing you over the years, even, I think the first time I saw you perform, you were probably solo.
Yeah,
and I think I probably saw you solo one time, and then later I saw all of y'all, and then I saw all of y'all again, and it just seemed to get like bigger and better.
Thank you.
Do you guys think a lot about the live show when you're writing these songs?
Not necessarily, no.
Yeah, not really.
Really, like, we're
trying to emphasize that.
We talked about it today, writing a TikTok song.
Yeah.
Oh, this is the content.
First time we ever were like, yeah, this is what we got to do.
Yeah, because if you go into it looking like you're making it for that purpose, it's just like, you want
We
to come
do
out of the best stuff, literally like Rest and like, I mean, Duffel and things like. Those come from like us just vibing out together. We're not like, hey, listen, we're gonna make a strict we're not gonna make a diagram of.
There's no rules to it, really.
Yeah.
No, and really no expectation. I think it's more so let's see what we can make, and then
after for sure. When we're rehearsing, like we think of stuff after to add to it,
and that's what it is. We're
the
trying
performance of that specific song.
We have one new song that I'm pretty sure when we started it was just me and Della in the studio, and he just had the hook going and just like pacing back and forth, singing the hook to my beat. And then I was like thinking, I was like, oh, this could be crazy live.
Yeah.
Well, that's what's crazy to think about, too, is like a song, we could all go like 3 separate days. And over those 3 days, we each hear it for the first time at different times, and we're not all in the same room. Yeah. So like from the time that Mixie makes a beat or I make a beat to the time that Del or Everett or Joey write the first hook or verse, and then let's like, I'm like, oh, I want to add this. By the end of it, you're like, wow, I wasn't expecting that. So it's tough to try and plan for that sometimes.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're definitely trying to like emphasize like our live show. We're definitely trying to add elements to the live performance. I think that's kind of like
on the drums.
Like
we got
trying
live
to get
instruments and beat machines.
We're trying to definitely try to make it a more like immersive experience when you're watching
memorable.
Perform. Yeah, exactly. It's
I'm
like
excited.
Yeah, it's not You see it, you go to local shows, you see how it, like, you got to set yourself apart from the, 12 other dudes in front of you on the lineup.
It's tough when you're doing, when there's a long lineup like that, too. It's like, you're just there to showcase your
Not gonna lie, I do
material.
not like the 12.
Yeah,
those are brutal.
It's like you're just showcasing
Brutal.
your material. Kids just run through songs. Like we did a show recently, and kids just ran through their songs because they know. You know what I mean? The attention span is like the news feed on Instagram. You know what I mean?
That's
people,
more
if people
just
like
seeing,
it. They're
what
like
catches. Like that's
Yeah.
a real test zone for like, oh, did that one get people nodding at all?
Yeah.
Okay, that one
Yeah.
didn't. Boom, boom, boom.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like it's important to do those,
Definitely.
a couple times just to get.
I think that's what it is. Every live performance is kind of like like you were talking about heat check. Like you see something, if people are feeling it, then you're like, okay, maybe that's better than what we thought, because we perform a lot of stuff before it's even released. We'll just try it out. You know what I mean? And that
Yeah.
kind of gives you a depiction of, all right, did people react well to that? You know what I mean?
Come Down live is my jam.
Yeah.
You guys
Great.
do that.
People love that one.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Alley
Funny,
show.
I
James
actually
Scribbling,
say
yeah.
Sometimes we should take that out of the set, and
Yeah.
they're all like, "No, that's a
I
classic."
mean, a rap Edelman.
And that's one that if you hear
That is,
on the
yeah.
record, you might not know it's going to
Inspire
go
the-
crazy live.
Yeah.
And then the hook is like very in your face live.
Yeah,
So-
calm down. You're coming down. Thanks, man. Heart was raised.
So-
Speaking's got me bleeding.
That's definitely an advantage. Having a group and having all of you guys like competent and having your own sounds definitely live. Makes
Yeah, it's
a
better
big
than writing 3 verses for every song as a solo artist.
Well, yeah, that's another thing. Having the
I recommend
time,
that to anybody.
Having the time to write, your own solo music is like, that's a lot of work. You know what I mean? And then just a solo grind in general.
We just
is
do
like-
this.
want the
take
easy way out.
No, I'm not saying that, but I mean, like it's less.
We're lazy.
It's almost like stressful sometimes. You know what I mean? When you're like, all right, I got 5 songs. I want to make a 10-song album, but you know what I mean. I also want to release something. So
Well,
what am I
that's-
going to do? Am I going to rush writing these songs, or am I just going to start releasing?
Because there's a
stuff?
pressure
Yeah.
to release a lot.
exactly.
We have
yeah.
efficiency. That's it. I think that's the biggest like blessing about having the group thing is we're just efficient and with our output.
Yeah.
You know.
Speaking of which, we're going to play one more. So I'm going to give you guys the option here. Do you want to do Duffel? Do you want to do Link in Bio? Do you want to do... Yeah, it's one of those.
Duffel.
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 Go stream that on all platforms.
All platforms.
All platforms.
Pomegranate.
POMAGRANITE.
Some POMAGRNITE.
He paused there for a minute. Yeah, well, you're tuning
Like
into
dodgeball.
LFOD Radio. We'll be back with more after this.
Huh? They don't say you wise. I don't give a damn. Watch them diss, talking from the gram, all about the glam. I don't see you, and you ain't gonna stop talking all that shit, smoking blicks in the parking lot. I'ma spark this shit like, whoa, I'm in high demand, popping once again. Then I woke, threw up on my chains, parting for the stains. Then I go with the energy. All of y'all are enemies and never done shit for me. Never done shit for me.
Thank you to LFOD Radio. I'm Joey Roxett, Pomegranate Records.
Yay.
All right, we're back. LFOD Radio. We got Pomegranate with us. It's going well, guys. I'm liking this. I've always had like some curiosity about what y'all are up to, so it's cool to hear it. And it's dope that you guys are testing yourselves out there like that, because it is easy to do a big fish, small pond thing and feel like you're, so
For sure.
would definitely recommend it to all artists. Go out there and see what's going on. Even different and keep pushing. Get better.
You want
Yeah.
everybody to hear
Don't
yourself.
let it discourage you. Just if you do get blown out of the water, just be
Yeah.
like, okay.
I feel like
Yeah.
that's more motivation. than
Always a
to-
bigger
Definitely,
fish.
yeah.
Motivation, trust me.
You never know. But so this is the most important question. I usually wait a bit, but we're gonna ask this first because you guys might have a long answer. We ask everyone that comes through. You're on LFOD, Live Free or Die Radio. What does live free or die mean to you? One at a time, though.
One at a time.
Who wants to go?
start
Okay. Who wants? No. Who
Dylan,
wants to
you
go
were
first?
ready.
Yeah, go ahead. You're first. I wasn't ready. I just made a noise. I don't even know. I said.
That means you're ready.
I think you did this in an interview before. I thought.
Yeah,
And I
There's an
forget what my
unreleased-
answer was. It's an unreleased answer.
Pomegranate interview that will
We're gonna
drop at an
compare.
undisclosed time.
Yeah, at a
but it's
later date.
When we
one-on-one.
blow
Yeah.
up next year, he'll be like,
Ah,
drop that.
live free or die. I don't know. I mean, I just go with it, man. I just go with the flow, bro.
Okay.
And just kind of like, You only live once. Motto.
That's YOLO.
YOLO.
So the
bro.
dude from New Hampshire,
I'm
born and raised, turned it into YOLO.
born and raised, bro.
All right, I guess I got a good input on this. All right, so it is our state motto, right? Live free or die. I personally think New Hampshire, in general, as like a government, doesn't really live by that. But for like on the I guess like symbolism, or how I interpret that motto by itself, because it is pretty powerful. I say, like live and achieve what you feel you deserve to achieve, and if someone gets in your way, then you either
Die for it.
get through them or you die.
Okay.
And that seems dramatic, but like that's how I've always interpreted it. It's something that we hear a lot. Being in the area, oh, live free or die. It's on everybody's license plate. It's on everybody's license.
Yeah.
like yeah, it's on when you come in the state. We live on the border. We see it every day.
I got
Crossing
it on
on
the
the
side
state
of my
borders,
head.
Mass and New Hampshire. Live free or die, and it's a big statement, but.
I know you don't really think about it that much though when you're.
But you still get arrested
when you're
you still get arrested
from
for
the
weed.
area.
You still get arrested for
Still
weed.
get arrested for pot.
I
Yeah.
think about it all the time.
So you're thinking, you're basically, it's you or me.
Yeah, I think so. I think ultimately that's what I would say. Yeah, it's you or me. Yeah, let me live, or I'm gonna have to try to fix my conditions.
Yep.
And if that involves
you can
me
leave it.
dying, yeah, that's me dying.
Yeah.
Right?
Can I throw my 2 cents?
Yeah.
No.
You're put on Earth to do one thing, and whatever that thing is, I think that's what you need to figure out. And
Do it
like
freely.
that's that live part. And it could be to do nothing. It could be to raise a family. It could be to make music.
Exactly.
But that is the live part. And if you're not necessarily open to trying to figure out whatever that is for you, and you're just gonna live as far as exist, then you're gonna slowly die. Because you're gonna be very unhappy and unfulfilled with why you won the lottery. As far as Gary Vee says it, 1 in 700 trillion. Like you could have been a rock, but you're a human. So like, figure out what it is that you can do to make an impact on either your life or the world. That's my live free or die.
Yeah, I got a very similar one. I was gonna say that, like, find what your purpose is and do what makes you happy. A little more simple, but
I like
got
that.
Yeah, let's hear Mr. Rocks.
Damn, those are way better than
is Joey
those are
Roxy.
way better than YOLO, bro.
YOLO.
So live free or die. Live
That's
free or
a
die
piece,
is
Max,
you can
right?
walk into a store in New Hampshire and buy a gun right away. You can't really do that in many places. Pretty wild. I thought I'd just throw that out there.
That's pretty
but
wild.
on top of that, they're trying to make it so like live free or die is you can do whatever you want as long as you're not hurting anybody, you're respecting others, and you're just gonna try to make the world a better place.
Yeah,
But don't
smoke.
don't don't smoke marijuana though.
Don't smoke pot.
Yeah, that'll get you in trouble there. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, live free or die. It's
One or
it's a
the
heavy
other, dude.
statement.
Don't smoke pot unless you want to die.
Word.
The public service announcement.
It's funny because the New Hampshire perspective, like, I
You can
like.
buy all the guns. Remember.
Yeah,
like
I think that's about his point, is that you can go in like a convenience store and buy a gun, but they restrict you on what plant you can smoke.
Yeah,
It's pretty
you can
crazy.
buy it at a
Walmart.
convenience
Yeah,
store.
No, I'm saying not at a
Take this
convenience store, but I'm
corn
saying
dog
it's
and
like a
rock.
convenience store. You go in and get it. It's
Skittles
as
and a
it's as
Glock.
common as a transaction as a convenience store.
Skittles
Is what I
and a
mean to
Glock.
say.
Right.
Get Cottonelle
You know?
and a Glock at the same place.
Yeah.
Take a pack of Marb Lights and
Yeah.
Maine's pretty
Glock
easy
9.
too.
Man,
Yeah.
it's
Walked
easy,
in
but
and
yeah,
out.
but they got
Yeah.
acres and acres of
Yeah.
marijuana.
Yeah.
So they're all chill. Nobody's shooting
I was
each
just
other.
gonna say, so we've been asking that question for like 2 years now, and it's mostly people that aren't from New Hampshire answering it, and it's been cool to hear like them rattle it through and then end up kind of in line with that, like kind of like express yourself or you're gonna die is like where it kind of lands. But the dudes from New Hampshire always either like have not thought about it, they just
Exactly.
are it, or they start talking about like the government. And
I know, trust me.
And then shout out to Justin Clancy, who literally brought it down to just like, what does live free or die mean to you? And he's like, cheap booze, cigarettes, like he just stayed on the border.
Yeah, exactly.
Like a true
Yeah,
PvD kid.
seriously. Yeah, you get Marlboros for $6 a
Smoking like a
pack, and you
true
get a 30
PvD
rack
kid.
for $17 at Walmart.
And now it's the only place you can get Jewel Pods. They
Oh, yeah.
math.
Yeah.
December 11th, they're back, I guess. No flavors, though. And no
70%
menthols
tax.
anymore.
70% tax on it.
Yeah. I don't know.
Good.
I'm not. Shout out to Loman. Run the jewels out now.
Yeah.
No, that's a real
clever.
beat tape
That's
he dropped.
clever.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, shout out to Loman.
I like that.
I know, like, it has made it to Run the Jewels. I don't know if they've listened to it yet, but they
Really?
have it. We haven't gotten commentary. But is there anything y'all wanted to say that you didn't before we get out of here?
Go listen to our music. I'm sure we said that a bunch
You've
of
said
times,
that.
but
Yeah.
go listen to it again. All right.
Yeah, don't forget why they're here. They're promoting.
I'm sure you'll like at least 5 songs out of our maybe 20 that we have up, guaranteed.
You'll like them all.
Probably more.
Yeah, that's
that's
like a
not
low
a great-
percentage. If we were playing baseball,
for the
if we were
normal
playing
person. I'm
baseball,
saying
that'd
for
be
the-
average at best.
Yeah. Hey, listen.
Hey,
Listen,
we're
all I'm saying
pretty
is for the
good.
average person that doesn't listen to hip hop.
Yeah.
That doesn't like a grandfather. Guarantee he'll love. He'll love a
grandfather?
My dad loves country.
Oh my no! All right, all right. So
Like a
yeah,
grandfather.
I
You're
think
not going to pitch it better than that.
yeah, just like I think what Joey meant to say was go visit your grandfather
And show him the
show
album.
him our
Show
whole
him my
tape
music.
and make him listen to it. I don't think he said our music's designed for old people.
That's
That would
Pomegranate's
be
message.
a fire TikTok challenge for y'all.
Oh, look at
Just
that.
get the
Bring
it
old
in.
folks
There's our
rocking
TikTok.
out to Pomegranate.
There you go.
Go,
Yeah.
don't air that
Reaction
part.
vids.
Don't air this part.
Oh, no, this is out there. It's a race now. Whoever
Hey,
That's
my
our new
grandmother lives in
slogan,
Florida. It's gonna be
Pomegranate.
get
perfect.
to your grandparents
music.
and film them.
Joey's
reacting to
grandmother's
Pomegranate.
wrestling an alligator,
Yeah.
listening to Pomegranate. I got the
This is a
drink. I got
slapper.
the drink.
Guys, we're not going to close it any better than that. Like,
Yeah.
So,
Thank you for having us.
thank you so much for coming
Yeah.
through, y'all.
Yeah,
this
appreciate
was
it, man.
very
Thank you,
dope.
man.
We got some extra bars from any of you?
Extra
Yeah.
bars for sure. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we'll be back next week with more. We're actually dropping a crew mix next week. It's just going to be me, A-Ball, and Amanda letting y'all know about some upcoming things. One of them being December 17th. We're live at the WBUR City Space. That's right on Comm Ave, right on BU campus. We'll be doing a live State of New England hip hop podcast. That's going to be me moderating, and we're going to have Brandon Matthews, a.k.a. Bedlam. We're going to have Dart Adams. We're going to have Jessica Richards, Latrell James, and Oompa. I'm going to be talking about, some behind-the-scenes, business-type conversations of what things are going on now, where they could be heading. It's free. You do need to RSVP, though. If you do not, they'll have you do it at the door. And with the way the weather's been going, you're not going to want to do that. But pretty good capacity there. But still, you want to get those tickets. Everyone in that room is going to be about, their business. So you're going to want to link up with them, and you're going to catch some gems. Paranorm will be closing it out with a performance. We're on most podcast apps. I would subscribe so you get these right away. They drop, probably like 2 a.m. Tuesday morning. We start sharing it, closer to 7 when people are waking up. But if you're a night owl, you can get right on it. We're on pretty much all of them. If you can't find us, let us know, and we'll get it added. We're at LFOD Radio or LFOD Life on Facebook. I'd even subscribe to YouTube if you haven't checked that out yet. We got video from these interviews. We got extra bars, live event footage, and more. And then once again, shout out to the patrons. If you don't know what that means, patreon.com/LFOD Life. We got a lot of dope stuff going on there. And artists and managers, submissions at LFODradio.com. Send us clean records. That's where we get it all. And shout out the record company one final time. We're in their temporary home now. They'll be back in their new digs this summer. And thank y'all. Appreciate it.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, 100.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Live free or die.
Thank you, Uncle.
Hey, that's me.
Thanks, Uncle.
I had to say,
hey,
I said
I'm
that
your
to him.
uncle.
He's Uncle Mixie too.
Yeah, this is Uncle Mixwell.
Yeah, so.
Way to go.